Nigerians were on Friday, March 29, greeted with the news of the sole administrator of Rivers State, Vice Admiral Ibiok Eted Ibas, retired, who was appointed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, accusing suspended governor Similaye Fubara of allegedly looting 15 billion naira from the state coffers. Now, as part of the investigation, former head of service, Dr. George Nweke, who recently resigned, was placed under scrutiny to determine his role in the alleged financial misappropriation. While details of the purported looting remained unclear, sources suggested that the probe may be a strategic move to keep Governor Fubara entangled in legal battles until his tenure effectively ends in 2027. Shortly after, the sole administrator's allegation, an unanticipated drama ensued with a video of Rivers State former head of service, Dr. George Nweke, after resigning his position, making Nigerians to believe that he is helping investigators in the financial state of the state under Fubara, the suspended governor. Now, Nweke now accuses Fubara of looting over 15 billion naira, money he shared among political associates, allegedly, and the former HOS also claims or alleges that Fubara bombed the State House of Assembly. Let's see that interview.
Good afternoon once more. This is a press briefing by my humble self, Dr. George Nweke, FCA, MNI, immediate past head of service of Rivers State. My dear people of Rivers State, it is with humility and every sense of responsibility and a sense of patriotism that I stand to address you today as your former head of service and someone who served from my heart. You will recall that I was appointed as head of service by our suspended governor, Governor Similaye Fubara, Grand Service of Rivers State. Let me also use this opportunity to appreciate him for giving me the opportunity to serve as head of service. With loads of misinformation on print and electronic media, I've chosen to put the records straight. I was not sacked. Neither was I pressured to resign. I did so willingly from the depth of my heart. However, as an insider and a key player in the administration, and by my position, who worked closely with the suspended governor, it would be unfair for me to keep mute or for me not to address some key factors that have affected or that will affect our state if we continue on this trajectory. And I pause to say that good men must talk so that things will be put right. I want to use this medium to thank Mr. President for a swift intervention in Rivers State crisis, especially on the declaration of the state of emergency that was declared and assented to by our National Assembly. You will recall that when the governor was suspended, as head of service, I was the next in command, so I'm not speaking as an outsider or as a novice. I'm speaking as an insider and as someone that has much information. If not for the intervention of Mr. President, Nigeria would have faced the worst economic sabotage and Rivers State would have been in flames, and by extension, other neighboring states, because of the level of insider distortion that I saw. First, it all started with the State House of Assembly, where the governor, Sir Similaye Fubara, directed his chief of staff to burn down the assembly in a way to avert the suspected impeachment. That evening, Edison was in Government House with many of his boys, including the former chairman of Obiakpo, one Mr. Chijoke Ihunwo. I was there with them when a bag of money was handed over to Edison for that operation, though I did not actually know what it was meant for or the amount inside. I want to tell Rivers people today, the House Assembly was complex. In Moscow Road was clearly brought down by the do of Edison and some of his cohorts. Under the instruction of the sitting governor then, I challenged them to an open confrontation, and this will make us to throw more light on this. A day after that incident, I almost resigned, but I was very scared because I know the power of a sitting governor, and he knew that I'm aware of the whole plan and that I am discomforted with the unconscionable acts and deliberate posture of innocence and mien of a sheep. Another attempt was also made to destroy the residential quarters of the House Assembly members, if not for the press conference that was made there by Rivers youths, Rivers elders, and National Assembly members. That would have been another barbaric demolition in Rivers State. I came to realize that they actually wanted to demolish that second building because after some weeks, he, the governor, personally told me, a couple of others, that he knew that if he knew early, he would have gone to pull down their hall before visiting the residential quarters of the assembly, and that he didn't actually know what they had, that they had such a beautiful hall where they are using now for sitting. I was so shocked. Rudely shocked. And I asked myself, how could a man that wants to lead his people be destroying his state's assets and wasting public funds in a needless ego fight? Thirdly, I want to advise some key stakeholders who have condemned the state of emergency made by the President and confirmed by the National Assembly to retract their statements. They are speaking from points of ignorance. I also understand that they are only seeing the surface. Yes. If they had knowledge, they will even be commending Mr. President even openly. If the President did not take proactive steps, no one knows who would have been affected by the sinister plans that we are cooking. While I thank Mr. President for the state of emergency that was declared in Rivers State for a period of 6 months, I will plead with him not to give up on Rivers State affairs because a lot is going on there with Governor Fubara. One of the factors that got me removed was when Governor Fubara told me that they will use a judge to decide who will become the next president of Nigeria. And I asked him, how will that work? Is it by votes or by what means? I'm still worried. I'm still worried. He clearly told me that he is the chief security officer of Rivers State and his brother is in charge of Bayelsa State. And all the pipelines are under their care, that at the appropriate time, they will tell the boys what to do. And fund was not an issue at all. That was when he made that statement in his public function, that, and I quote, I will tell the boys what to do at the appropriate time. Deep down in me, I knew that something was up, and perhaps the time was near. He boasted to be the David that will bring down the Goliath of Rivers State, that he has the backing of the creme de la creme in the state, the likes of our former governor, Dr. Peter Odele, and family promised to use their contacts in the judiciary, including some members of the University Council, to break new grounds for him. The plan was to start from just-speaking areas to destroy oil facilities, to remove attention from the jaw and make it have a statewide look. The Goni, Oyibo, and other areas were to be bombed first before the jaw zones. This would have brought down the government of President Tinubu and usher in a new president from the coalition of political parties with a vice president, possibly himself, as he was boasting. The media was recaptured by paying heavily for airtime and retaining the social media influencers and non-social critics in their payroll. I'm not aware of what this revelation means, but I'm doing this to free my conscience and warn those innocent persons that are used to sway public sentiment that there is more than meets the eyes in the Rivers matter. Sometime I sleep over in government house, it has started becoming very uncomfortable when Governor Bala Mohammed and some other stakeholders started several natural visits to Rivers State. I recall that one of such visits, he told me that he would support Bala Mohammed for president or any other northerner. That discussion is still ongoing, I'm very sure. I was not bothered about who he supports or not. I was more concerned about the quantum of state resources that were being released to these visitors at each of those unwanted visits. Let me draw the attention of Nigeria Labour Congress to call the chairman of the Rivers State chapter to order to avoid politicizing labor. I am privy to several private meetings between the governor and the labor leaders in the state, and largesse that accompanied each meeting to compromise the labor union. And I was to ask, why? What is actually the benefits to get from all this unnecessary destruction? More worrisome is several meetings between the governor, his chief of staff, and some militant leaders. Details of these meetings are not privy to, since I was not allowed into such meetings. However, each meeting ended with huge sums of money paid than this in hard currency. I wish to state categorically that Rivers people are indeed Nigerians are the beneficiary of the declaration of state of emergency rule in Rivers State, and not Governor Fubara. Neither is it our former minister, Chief Nelson Wike. Finally, I wish to call on Mr. President to urge the civil administrator to step up his guards and be very vigilant, because I am aware of the sinister arrangements and dastardly plans to continue to hatch their plans if not put in check. This accounts for the organized media condemnations and seeming public outcry against Mr. President and National Assembly. Those who love democracy, those who love Rivers State, those who love development in any ramification, and those who love humanity in general will always protect humanity and democracy. Mr. President, sir, you have just protected democracy and humanity in Rivers State. You are our hero in Rivers State. Thank you, sir. I can now sleep, having cleared my conscience. Long live Federal Republic of Nigeria. Long live Rivers State. This is personally signed by me, Dr. George Chimeze Nweke, FCA, MNI, former head of service of Rivers State. Thank you, and God bless you.
Rivers State former head of service, Dr. George Nweke, after resigning his position, is now believed, or making Nigerians to believe, that he is helping investigators in the financial state of the state, Rivers State in particular, under suspended Governor Similaye Fubara. And Wike now accuses Fubara of looting over 15 billion naira. Money he has been alleged to have been shared among political associates. The former head of service also claims or alleges that Fubara bombed the State House of Assembly. If you're just tuning in, well, good morning and welcome to Rapid TV's continuously evolving social, political, and general interest show, Korero. What a weekend we had, full of drama. It's like 1 week, one drama, right? Well, I'm your regular host, Nkamiang John the Beloved, and today on the show, we are examining with a view to truly understand the drama that has unfolded all through the weekend in Rivers State, especially after that video of former head of service, Dr. George Nweke, his wife, yeah, you will see that shortly, and other key players surfaced all over social media, and of course, it went viral. Conversations all across board, different stratas, as to trying to really understand what is going on in Rivers State, with the hope of giving Nigerians, cause to believe that the expected peace or supposed peace under the current emergency regime in the state may not truly be near. It may just be a facade, a smoke screen. Anyway, the show is live and interactive on all our social media platforms, and you can be part of the conversation simply by following and liking Rapid TV on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, on Instagram, also known as IG, and we are on LinkedIn and TikTok as well. Our official handle is @OfficialRapidTV, @OfficialRapidTV. And of course, you can also take advantage of our WhatsApp portal. The number very much will be put on the screen so you can see it, 0916 771 6035, 0916 771-6035. That's our WhatsApp portal number. It will be nice to get your contributions to this unraveling drama or unfolding drama, as the case may be. It will be nice to get your thoughts, to really understand. Maybe you can decode all that went down at the weekend, which may also have a bearing on developments this week, as the case may be, especially with regards to Rivers State, right? So, now let's get back to the developments over the weekend. I did talk about the wife of the Rivers State former head of service, Florence Nweke, who raised the alarm that she does not know the whereabouts of her husband shortly after that video came into light. And of course, after his resignation as head of service, late on Friday, she told journalists she was afraid for her husband's life and had no idea where he was. Now, Mrs. Nweke, who was battling with emotions and concerns, called on Nigerians and others to help. Now, this came a few hours after her husband had given an exclusive interview in which he leveled several allegations against Governor Similaye Fubara. Among other things, he accused the governor of planning to support Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed in the 2027 presidential elections, and also meeting with and encouraging militants to carry out attacks on oil facilities and other assets across the Niger Delta. Of course. So let's see that video of Mrs. Nweke that came shortly after her husband had done that press conference we showed you earlier.
Abuja gave them every information they need. That my husband is trying to cover Sim Fubara. He said he had to cover the governor. That they have heard that it's his friend. They have heard that it's his friend, though. That he's just trying to cover up. My husband says he's not trying to cover up anything. That he doesn't think that there's anything like that. There's anything like 15 billion naira. That he's not aware. That he's not aware. That he's just the head of service. He doesn't know anything about finance of the state. So when they pressured him to sign that document, he said he will not sign. That instead of him to sign, he will resign. He just resigned. And called me in the office. I was in the office when he called me that he has resigned. I said, what happened? He said, till I come back. When I came back, I asked him. He started telling me that they brought the document. But that the document is that they found another $15 million, 15 billion naira. 15 billion naira that the governor did not declare. And he told that he doesn't know anything about that one. That what he handed over to them is what the governor handed over to him. And when they pressurized him, he said no, instead of all this wahala, let him leave them. He now wrote his resignation that he's not working again. He cannot come and sign what he does not know. He cannot come and say what is not true. Where is the 15 billion naira coming from? That he would not say, instead of saying let him go. That was how he resigned. So this morning, he told me that his friend, one of his friends from Abua, I think he said his name is Ogiri. He said it's Ogiri from Abua. That he has sent him ticket to come and let them discuss. I said, okay, but I have Monday, Sunday. And today is our dinner. Today being Friday, this year dinner party, I told him to stay at night till Monday, let us finish this program. He said he would just go and come back, let him just go and know where he's calling him. That was how he left. When he got to airport, when he got to Abuja, he called that they have landed. I said, thank God, he said he will keep me posted. That was all. The next thing I saw this morning, I had this night, people were calling me. They said they got an interview. I said, what interview? Interview for what? What was it I saw? Things flying on the internet. Then he got an interview. That's what happened. I said, that is not my husband. That is not my husband. So I sent him a message. I said, are you under duress? I sent him a message. I said, have they kidnapped you? Talk to me now. Why not talking to me? Where's the message I sent to him? Send the message I sent to him. I sent to him message. I sent to him message when I saw this online. Oh, Jesus, help me. Nigerians, help me. My husband is in trouble. 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 Look at the message I sent to him. See the message I sent to him. I said, Daddy, why? I said, where are you in hostage? I said, why didn't you talk to me? These are the messages I sent to him. Oh, he did not reply me. His numbers are not going through. His numbers are not going through. Nigerians help me. Nigerians help me.
It's not a Nollywood drama, even though Nigeria is known gradually to be rubbing shoulders with Hollywood, but we're not just there yet. Not just there yet. That was wife of former head of service of River State, Florence Nweke, who said late Friday that she did not know the whereabouts of her husband after he resigned from service. Only for a video of the River State former head of service, George Nweke, to surface, in which he assured the public that he is safe and currently lodging at, of course, a five-star Transcorp Hilton Hotel in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. That alone raises some curiosity, right? But anyway, his clarification followed an outcry by his wife, the video you just saw, Florence, late Friday, that she did not know the whereabouts of her husband after he resigned from service. Now, naturally, if the situation is not what we are pondering, right? She said she called him several times, but none of his numbers was going through. His one and only wife. Shouldn't he naturally have conversed with her or informed her of his intentions? Anyway, Nweke's distraughted wife told journalists she was afraid for her husband's life and had no idea where he was. However, in that recorded video on Saturday morning, Nweke said he was currently in Abuja to turn himself in to authorities. Let's see that video.
Gentlemen, let me introduce myself. My name is Dr. George Chimezie Nweke, the immediate past head of service of River State. You will recall that yesterday I addressed the press. After some hours of addressing the press, I saw a video of my wife trending online that I was kidnapped and that I made my statement under duress. I've already debunked that. My wife cannot speak for me on civil service matters when I'm still healthy and mentally very fit. Let me say it again. I was not kidnapped. Thank God you heard her when she said that I flew from Port Harcourt to Abuja. I flew with Igbo Air. At least no kidnapper can carry me on a flight. And I know probably, and I believe, that she would have been misinformed. As head of my family, I apologize sincerely to the public on her behalf. Maybe I also think that she did that so that she will escape any harm. Because you know, they were already hunting for me. So they went and frightened her. She must have done that also to secure herself. I also listened to the suspended governor's reaction to my press statement. I was surprised that he never debunked my allegations of bringing down the assembly, which was the main subject matter. Rather, he was talking about other issues. The big question is this, and I want you to reason. This is over 1 year, and the assembly was brought down. Yet, no panel of inquiry was set up. And there has not been any report on that incident from the state government until date, at least until the time I can remember, maybe yesterday. I don't know if today. Not even a police investigation. I call on the federal government to set up an independent investigation team. The truth, which is known on the lips of every person that's on the streets of Port Harcourt anyway, will now be made formal. Secondly, he mentioned that, how will I be in a meeting with him and Bala Mohammed? Ladies and gentlemen, I never said I was in a meeting with him and Bala Mohammed. Everything I said was what he told me personally, one-on-one. Maybe to mock me. My past statements stand as evidence to all that I have said. At this point, I know, it's understandable, I could be making some feeble denial of not having told me these things, but this doesn't change the facts. And all I wish to do is to tell the public the truth. What is done with the truth is for the states and for the growth of our nation. Lastly, I want to state here that I'm not a politician. I'm a career civil servant. My service has traversed through different sectors. I was a lecturer. I rose to lecturer 1 and left lecturing in 1995 and grew gradually and steadily to the position of director in 2004, then 2023, by the special grace of God, I was elevated to the position of a head of service. I want to reiterate here that I love my state. This state that gave me the opportunity to grow from level 0 to the enviable position of head of service cannot be brought down this way. It makes me to cry. This state cannot be destroyed this way. The state that was once the pride of the whole nation cannot be thrown into the dustbin just overnight. I may be beneficiary of the government of Rivers State. I cannot therefore watch this state, which I have benefited from, to be destroyed by politicians for their personal ego. I cannot also give all my evidences on the media. Some are sensitive, or more sensitive than this. I will give details to the proper authorities when required of me. The level of stealing of public funds and assets witnessed in the last 2 years is mind-boggling and never ever experienced in the history of the state, as we also had the highest allocation ever during this period. I've also heard people saying that I have been compromised. If at all I could be compromised, then it should have been the governor, who is my benefactor, who actually appointed me as head of service of Rivers State. I want to tell you here that I never compromised while I was in system. Why would it be now that I've compromised myself, that now that I've left the system? Finally, what was the reason of going to my house to harass my wife in the name of interviewing her, instead of calling me for a reaction? Why did they go to harass my wife? This is so personal to me because they brought my wife to public disgrace. Let me also advise my fellow citizens of Rivers State that they should not destroy our state for peanuts. Let me advise politicians, please, don't destroy your state for peanuts. Condemn what is bad. Evil is evil. And bringing down a parliament is evil. Targeted national assets for destruction is evil. Intentionally whipping up tribal settlements, tribal and sectional settlements is evil. We must condemn this. I've also spoken to my wife, who I can tell you that I am her chief security officer. I have directed her to meet me where I am, or where I will meet her up in Port Harcourt soon. After I've told her to stay in the security office in Port Harcourt, I'll meet her soon when I finish what I'm doing here. And she's on her way to that place. I sincerely apologize to her for whatever stress she has passed through. But I know that she and my entire family and my community will be proud of me, especially her. She's proud that she married a man that can make an extreme sacrifice for society, for justice, and for good governance. Finally, to Mr. President and security agencies, I beg you, don't sweep this under the carpet. Please, don't sweep this under the carpet. Come and save Rivers State from destruction. Governor Simeon Fubara and his infantile cohorts have invested much in destroying Rivers State. Let it stop now. Let me say here that this may be the last conference I will grant on this matter, as I am not financially buoyant to continue on this trajectory. The rest that I will do will be with security agencies. Any other press granted now by any other person around me should please be disregarded. These are serious issues that should not be discussed much on the media. For abundance of caution, and those who were not at the briefing yesterday, I can repeat my briefing and adopt all as mine. Long live Rivers State, long live Nigeria. They're asking why I had to leave at this time. I had to leave because I was studying the environment. As a serving civil servant, you're under oath. There are some things you cannot say. You can advise, but you can't come to the media because you're a civil servant. If you make any error, I don't know if any of you from NT or state media, if you are sacked on your job, you may not, nobody may explain it. You have been sacked, you have been sacked. So I waited for this time when I felt that the environment was okay for me to make this disclosure. Everything will not be on the media. Let the captions be there. When the security agencies invite me, I'll make more disclosure. Some of these are better so than in the media. Against me personally? No. I'm impeccable. No person has. I've worked as a permanent secretary since 2009. I have never. And that's why I may not have enjoyed all that patronage, because I'm even a whistleblower. Yes, I have retired. I'm in a contract that will end by November. So it's November I'm supposed to exit.
Nigeria. The more you look, the less you see, right? Well, that was former head of service in Rivers State, Dr. George Nweke, reiterating his allegations that Governor Similaye Fubara is responsible for the bombing of the State House of Assembly complex. Meanwhile, in another video, it was a weekend of videos. In another video, wife of the former head of service, Mrs. Weke, you know, in this video, he said he has spoken to her, told her to meet her. But in this video, Mrs. Weke called on Governor Similaye Fubara to intervene over her husband's whereabouts, claiming that her husband resigned under duress. Now, she added that her husband was in trouble and was being forced to confess to things he knew nothing about, and that he had resigned to avoid trouble. Now, Mrs. Wike, beyond raising the alarm in an interview with Channels TV, also made a call to Governor Fubara, pleading with him to help her husband. Let's see that conversation.
Is that governor?
Yes, yes.
Is that Mr. This way? My husband is in trouble. Where could I help you?
What happened?
People should help you. He went to Abuja this morning. I remember he said his friend Ogiri from Abuja called him. My husband is in trouble. I can't get this so. I can't get this so. My husband is in trouble. My husband is in trouble. All his friends are finished off. People should help me. My husband is in trouble.
No, madam, I don't know. I saw something this evening that they granted media this thing. So I'm even surprised that.
He's in trouble. He's in trouble. I don't know, but he's the first one. They have killed him. I don't know if he's alive. Why could I help me? Why could I help me? Why could I help me? Why could I help me?
All right. Okay. No problem. No. It's okay. You're sure you're not aware of this is action?
I don't know. He told me the morning that his friend, I remember, he said so.
No, you know what I'm asking? You know what I'm asking? At least there's nothing that happens that he doesn't share with you. Where have I offended him? And where will he cook this level of lies against me? Where have I offended you people? After everything I've done for you people?
He's in trouble. He's in trouble. So please help me. I don't know how to find him. People should find Ogiri's number. Let him provide my husband though. I remember he said Ogiri from Abuja. Now he said he get to come this morning, no. I said we have Monday, Sunday. I'm the chairman of the Monday, Sunday. Where will you go now? Where will you go now? Leave me here. How will I do this program alone in the church? He said he's coming back today. He's coming back today. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, God, please help me. Help me, my husband is in trouble. Help me, please.
It's okay. No. Were they threatening him or what? Because I know at least.
I don't know that. Jesus, he's in trouble. This is not Igbo. He's in trouble. His phones are switched off. I sent a message on WhatsApp. I said, you're in a hostage. I said, why will you do this to me? He did not respond, though. I have been calling since, though. I'm finished, though. Where is my husband? Oh, can you provide my husband, though? Oh, can you provide my husband?
It's okay. It's okay. No problem. We'll try and see what we can do. No problem.
Oh, God, please help me.
It's okay.
Please help me.
No problem.
Please
You
help
know,
me.
anything anybody is doing in this life, if you do a good, you will meet good. If you do bad, definitely you will get your reward for the evil. You know my relationship with him. I don't know where I've offended him that he will cook this level of lies against me.
He's not Shibo. He's not. He cannot. He cannot. He decided that he cannot sign anything against you. He decided that he cannot sign anything against you. Oh, Jesus. Jesus, when he came.
Florence Weke, wife or former head of service of River State, alerting the public and for her husband's sudden disappearance, and of course in that conversation with suspended governor of River State, Similaye Fubara. Of course, she alleges that her husband granted the initial interview, the very first interview, which we started the show with, under duress after he was invited to Abuja. And of course, what followed was another video from her husband suggesting that he's okay. He's relaxing, he's lounging at the Transcorp Hilton and ready to submit himself to securities for further scrutiny. Anyway, the suspended Rivers State Governor, Similaye Fubara, who you saw in that video, released screenshots of chats between former head of service, if we can see those screenshots, former head of service, George Nweke, and the chief of staff, Edson Ehie. Now, to back his position that he, the former head of service, may have been paid or coerced to lie against the suspended governor. Now, according to reports, Nweke had credited President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency in the state with adverting total chaos and economic sabotage. My director, let's see those charts so that Nigerians and viewers can, of course, get to see those charts. That's the start of the chart. Now, addressing journalists on Friday in Port Harcourt, Nweke accused Fubara of being the architect of the recent political turmoil in the state. Now, he alleged that the governor orchestrated the destruction of public assets and had ulterior motives that could have plunged the state into anarchy. Nweke also clarified that his resignation was voluntarily and contrary to the suggestion of his wife, who has said that he was forced to resign and not due to dismissal or external pressure. In response, Fubara, in his statement signed personally on Saturday, described Nweke's comments as laudable and urged Nigerians to discredit them. He said, and I quote, "The truth is that Dr. Nweke has been compromised, and whatever he is saying is only aimed at fulfilling his promise to those who may have paid or coerced him to lie against me." End of quote. Also, a series of WhatsApp messages like the ones you've seen Fubara sent to Channels Television suggested that Nweke had been reaching out to the chief of staff for funds and support in exchange for his loyalty, claiming that he earns a paltry $500,000 naira, that's 500,000 naira, which was inadequate to meet his needs. Well, if you're just tuning in, this is Rapid TV's continuously evolving socio-political and general interest show, Korero. Definitely not a Nollywood movie with all the clips you have seen. Because today on the show, we are examining with a view to understanding the drama that unfolded over the weekend in Rivers State, especially after a video of the Rivers State former head of service, Dr. George Nweke, his wife, and of course other players surfaced over social media and went viral. Now, giving Nigerians cause to believe that the expected peace that was promised under the current emergency regime in the state may not be near as it seems. Anyway, just to remind you, the show is live and interactive on all our social media platforms, and of course our WhatsApp portal is live and active, so you can take advantage of our WhatsApp portal to share your contributions and of course interact with the conversation on the show. Don't forget to also follow our YouTube channel and subscribe so that you get to see more updates as this conversation continues, because our searchlight is beamed on developments in Rivers State. Right. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, while declaring the state of emergency in Rivers State, had assured that his action was aimed to restore peace in the state and prevent escalation of the crisis. But with the alleged startling revelations of the former head of service to the state, Dr. George Nweke, the expected peace under the current emergency regime may not be near. Dr. George Nweke, as head of service of the Rivers State government, eulogized Fubara's administration at 1 year in office. The video of that interview is very instructive as a material for psychoanalysis of his person against the videos we have seen with him in Abuja. So, we are now in the court of public opinion. Let's watch that interview where he eulogized Governor Fubara after 1 year in office, as compared to these other videos that we've seen of him now bearing his conscience, as he has said, that he couldn't have said anything because he was a civil servant and the civil service rules do not allow for him to speak. And so calling forth, it means we need to examine the civil service rules to know, as it concerns the issue of confidentiality, can he still, even though he has resigned and claims that he resigned voluntarily, can he still be able to divulge, quote and unquote, civil service secrets? Let's watch that video.
This Nebuchi, media personnel, and it's my pleasure to be with you. Can we meet you, please, sir?
I am Dr. George Weke, Head of Service of Rivers State.
Okay, so amazing. 1 year in office, what can you say are the notable achievements of the Executive Governor of Rivers State, His Excellency Sir Siminalayi Fubara?
Wow, very good question indeed, because I wouldn't actually know where to start, but I will just mention a few, especially as they affect the Rivers State civil servants. Okay. Maybe a very good way of starting it is to recount what situation was here in Rivers State civil service before the coming of the governor of the state. The governor came into power 2 days later on. He visited the state secretariat here to inspect the fiscal appearance of the secretariat. And when he came here, there was no water. We have water. People were carrying water with the cans, and flush toilets and everything. It was an eyesore. There was no lift. People were trekking up because all the lifts were packed up at the last administration. So the governor, and there was no light even. NEPA was old, PSN, they were old and they were not giving us power. So when he came, he wept for us and promised us there that we were going to restore all those facilities. And through to his words, he matched the words with action immediately. And he paid automatically all the blocks had water within the next 2 weeks. The lifts, he paid for all the lifts to be repaired, and the lifts, people that store the lifts came, checked and told us what to do. They fixed all the lifts. PSM was restored, and the fiscal environment, they empowered us, clean everywhere. So the Rivers State Civil Service Secretariat immediately wore a very brilliant look. We have been enjoying that serene environment today. That's that side. The governor also approved the promotion of civil servants across every MD in the state, and also implemented the payment of their arrears. The governor also surprised all the civil servants in Rivers State in December, paid across the board 100,000 to every person.
It's true.
So are you a beneficiary
Yes.
of the 100,000 that was given?
During the Christmas, I celebrated well. I even reached my brothers and my sisters. You know, we are so happy. For his first in office, he surprised us for Christmas bonus. Since then, civil servants have not benefited anything from the previous administration.
You know, the minimum wage is 30,000. So there are people that are on that minimum wage band that received 100,000. So it was something that had never happened in the history of the civil service. The day the bonus, people received the bonus, if you came to the secretariat, it was like there was a carnival.
Wow.
People were dancing and jubilating. So it was something that the civil servants appreciated so well.
When I say 100,000, people may not appreciate the value of it. Some people, their salaries in the month may be say 30,000, 20,000. And the bonus itself became 100,000. People could not hold their joy.
I love him so much. I congratulate him. I'm not a civil servant, but I know of what he did for them. He gave them money for Christmas, no matter your level. Even though I'm not a civil servant, but I was impressed. I am Mrs. Sinjoko Obioma.
Before the governor came, there was nothing like a civil servants week. People were no longer celebrating, but June last year, we, just a month after taking office, we celebrated the civil servants week. These things were like, the person was talking about them before now. They were already forgotten. We are now saying in those days. That's what we hear when things like that are mentioned. But the governor came and all these things were restored.
A good governor, and they hear them for well. The man too much. When they try work to do work well.
I'm also even going to talk about the relationship between us and Labour was very bad. But the governor came, whatever the Labour asked for will be discussed and will reach very good and amicable decisions. And there has not been any unrest. Labour, even when the federal workers had one or two issues, the Labour in the states, they did not see any need for that because
same river produce both sweet and bitter water. Well, what do you think of that interview? Is it instructive enough to use as a material for psychoanalysis of Dr. George Nweke's person against the earlier videos we saw of him in Abuja? While you ponder over that, reactions have trailed the alleged stifling revelations of the former head of service of Rivers State, Dr. George Nweke, a former governor of the state in the person of Rotimi Amechi. In his reaction, declared that the feud between the suspended governor of the oil-rich state, Similaye Fubara, and the minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, is about money sharing. Now, Amechi said this in an interview with DW on Saturday. The former governor also said the emergency rule imposed on the state by President Bola Tinubu was unconstitutional. Well, because time truly has run out on us and we do not want to overstay our welcome. That video is what I'll leave you with on this edition of Rapid TV's continuously evolving socio-political and general interest show, Korero. I wanted to end this show in a climax, but I guess since we're doing a Nollywood stroke Hollywood blockbuster, let me leave you in suspense. Maybe tomorrow we may do a sequel as we carefully dissect some of the intricate details of these videos that unfolded over the weekend and try to see if we can make sense of all of it. Anyway, remember, we have our ears to the ground and our searchlight being on developments, especially as they evolve in Rivers State. I am Nkamiang John the Beloved, signing out. But let's hear Rotimi Amechi as we say goodbye.
The reason for all this crisis, and that reason is the control of the resources of Rivers State. Rivers State resources belong to you, and we will make sure that that resources is applied judiciously for the betterment of Rivers State.
Okay, so the fight between the former governor of Rivers State and the FCT minister and the current governor is about sharing money. If not, what's the quarrel? Nigerians don't dislike corruption again, because I've not seen anybody on the street shouting about what is the quarrel. Can both of them speak to the public and tell us what the quarrel is about? And then we are now denied democracy. So the Rivers State is the only state in the country that can practice democracy. They've imposed a military rule on us. Secondly, is the fact that the president acted outside the constitution. Section 188 states how a governor can leave office, either by death or by resignation or by impeachment. It didn't say that one day you wake up and one man called the president of Nigeria will just wake up and throw you out of office. It makes democracy unstable. So that's what's going on in Rivers State. between the president and the FCT minister. One, the president wants a power grab. They want to frighten governors who may likely not support them for 2027. And so the rumor is everywhere. If you're not careful, the president will remove you. If you're not careful, the president will remove you. So this is all about sharing money and 2027 politics. Stability. Tell me what instability in Rivers State. Is it between the governor and the former governor or the FCT minister? If the president says it's insecurity, oh, they blew the pipe, what about the other parts of the country where there is insecurity? Is the president saying that he too, they should impose emergency rule on him? They can't because he's a democratically elected president. Nobody can impose. Nobody can impose emergency rule on him because of the fact that there is serious insecurity in the northeast and the northwest, even in the southeast, even in the south-south. So now the fact that those pipes, if they were blown, I don't know what happened in Rivers State, the fact that it happened, the governor has no responsibility, has no security responsibility. Security responsibility rests squarely on the president. So why punish a man who did not commit an offense? That's the question to ask. Why punish a man who did not commit an offense? So anyway, that's the answer to the question you raised. What I told you was that first and foremost, the president reserves the right to declare state of emergency in areas of the country that have security challenges. Of course, the president has the right. Section 305, I think so, protects him, gives him that power. That section did not include the removal of a governor. If the framers of the constitution wanted to remove governor through state of emergency, they would have included it. Now they went to the same framers went to a separate section, section 188, and outlined the requirements for the removal of a governor. One of those requirements included impeachment, the death of a governor, or the resignation of a governor. It did not say that the president will wake up one day and just say, look, I've removed this governor. Then it means that the opposition will not have governors, because the day the president wakes up as a person in power, he will just remove all the opposition governors and put people who are loyal to him. Security in the constitution rests squarely in the decision of the president, completely. Because if the president can just wake up without you breaking the law and remove you, the president is not a member of the Rivers State House of Assembly. He is neither the speaker nor a member of the State Assembly. The president is not the governor of Rivers State. The governor of Rivers State has not resigned. The governor of Rivers State has not died. Then he announces the removal. How? I am surprised at that, Attorney General. The Rivers people must come out. I've given you two solutions. I don't know why I say I'm not speaking. The first solution I gave you was protest. The second solution I gave you was PDP governors should approach the court. And I think they are approaching the court. They are approaching the judiciary. Let's hear what the judiciary will say.